Ladies and gentlemen, we're home here. Alright, let's go ahead and do some stuff. So what the hell exactly are grids? So we want to look at grids, and we're going to look at that by creating something new. So mostly understanding grids is not really a big issue for experienced guys, but if you're just starting with flutterflow, maybe you haven't done anything before, maybe you're just starting your business, you don't know how to code, and flutterflow tells you, hey, you can build an app without coding. Now, what really remains of you is to understand how the grids work so that you can design your own UI. Most of the times you would be needing to use the free templates, maybe because they don't fit your design, and you might have to do it yourself. So we're going to start by creating a grid. So I'm just going to create a simple page that is going to explain everything you need to know, and that will be it. So let's go ahead and do what I want to create. So I want to create something very simple, and for this situation we're going to do everything from scratch. That means you're not going to be using anything provided in Flutterflow Market or anywhere else. So I'm going to create something first, and I've created a new page, so that's very basic. I've also renamed my title here, and I want to just come here and create some few stuffs. So the very first thing I need to do is create a container. So I'm going to come here and create a container, but I'm going to explain something here. Whenever you have this column, a column lets you create things going downwards. Now, whatever that comes inside there can be a row, can be a cut, can be a divider. That's really up to you to choose. So for example, if you create this, if you add a container here, so we have created a container, as you can see it, it's somewhere here. I'm just going to make this dark so that you can see it. There you go. Now you can also create another container by clicking on this. Okay, by clicking on this container. So you're going to have two containers that are going downwards. There you go. So now you see. But now if you put in a row, so we have a row. So basically a row just traces you around something going to the light. So we're going to come here and create a row. So what will happen if I put one container here? Maybe I put two containers. So I'm just going to pick one container, put one container, look at how it works. So it's going to create one container there, and I'm going to create another container in here. So there you go, we have two containers going that way. But now you notice whenever you're working in a row, there are some things that you don't have access to. Also, whenever you're working in a container, there's also some things you don't really have access to. However, there are other things that you might be able to see, but you cannot be able to access them. Now, if you see inside my container, there are some things I don't have. Like, for example, I want to add a divider. I don't have a divider inside a container, but the divider is available in the column. If you come to the column here, you notice we have a divider right about here. So there you go, have the divider. Now let's go ahead and now create something. So I've just explained how you'd go about this. So I want to delete this stuff here. Delete this. I'm just going to delete this. Delete this also. Hey, come on. Alright, so I have deleted everything and I only have one container because that is what we want. So I'm going to take this container and make it stretch all the way to the end by clicking on this infinity. And then you notice that in some situation you cannot click on the infinity. Okay, so there are some situations where you might have a container inside a row that is inside a column, inside a card. Okay, you understand when you get there, and when you click on the infinity it won't work. In that case you might need to specify your width. Great, so there we have that container. Now when you're inside it, there's some things you can do to the container or to the row. So we're currently inside the container right now, but let's go to the column here so that we can do some few stuff. I want all this stuff to be at the center by going to the column, and then you have this alignment. So you can put it down there or wherever you want it to be, or you can put it at the bottom. All right, you can also put it like to be following each other, somewhere like that. So if you add more content, it will appear like that. We also have these I don't know the names, I just know how they look like. So technically that's it. We also have the stretch all the way to the end. We also have now the original one, which was this. but I might need to use this one, which is at the center here. Okay, so I'm going to use that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the container here, and I'm going to design some few things that I need. So the very first thing I'm going to need is like a heading. So I'm going to create a row inside the container. So create a row, and now inside here we have now the row. You notice we have the row here now. So I'll just go ahead and create that row. Alternatively, there's also another way you can do this, because when you do the row, you can't really control where they appear inside the container. So for that case, you can add a column. Now you don't really need to delete this row. You can just click on right click on this, and you're going to say wrap widget. Now when you say wrap widget, you're just going to come here and select the column. So this is what we want to wrap it with, and as you can see, now the row appears, the column appears in there. You also notice that now we can control where our row appears inside the column by just coming here and clicking on how it's going to be appearing. You can click on it and it will appear at the center, it can be at the bottom. That's exactly what we need. But now for this row, we want it to be at the extreme top of the app. So there we go. Now inside the row, I'm just going to start by adding a text. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to select a text. So inside this text, I'm going to call this my payment link. Maybe can be payment link. Okay, payment link, something like that. I'm currently working on a fintech application, so that's why I have a payment link. Then I can add something else here, which is like an icon. Basically, I'm going to pick an icon. Do I take an icon button or an icon? Let me just take an icon. Alright. So I'm going to take an icon, and you notice that it's right next to this. So I'm going to pick it and I'm going to just select an icon here. It's going to be text link. Let me grab that link. There you go. And I'm going to make it primary text. I'm going to make it primary text so that it changes based on the background color of the application. So that's what we want, and there we go. That's an ugly link. All right, don't worry about how it looks like. There we go. So we're going to go back to the row and you're going to design how this is going to appear. So I want this to be at this end and the other one to be at the other end. So I'm going to click on a row and then click on this axis that is stretched. There you go. So now we have our application appearing like this. But you notice that now the icon is a little bit too far from the screen. So I'm going to go back to the row and I'm going to add some padding to the row. Basically, I'm going to come here, click on the row, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, I'm going to add a padding of 10 on each side. There you go. Add another padding of 10 on this other side. And there we go. We have this arranged the way we want. So you can also just check out on this. So we have that apparently looking like that. Now, whenever you need to add something else at the bottom, you just need to add another row. So just come here and add another row. Alright, so I'm just going to add some few stuff in here so I don't waste too much time. So it's just going to be the same thing, and let's see what we can actually do with that. One more thing before I continue, I'm currently working on the page. You notice that when you type the text, right, like this, it kind of overlaps, and you notice that this is longer than this. So what I do is I click on this expansion and click on this, and it's going to appear at the bottom. Basically, it's going to have overflow, basically. So that's it. Alright, so there we go. Now you notice that I have created this. Basically, everything is a row, and whatever I've done on this first row is I've just made it float at the end. So this is how it will appear if it is only one record in the row. So now, basically, if I come back to this button, you notice that it's kind of outside the container. That's because the container has a static height of 100. So if you go to the container, you notice that it has a static height of 100 here. So if you need to make it bigger, you can just change the height to maybe 120. I don't know if that fits in. Yeah, kinda. Alright, I'm just going to change the color of my button here, and I'm going to just remove the whole field color. Just clear the whole color or whatever. I'm going to have that. Basically, that's what I need. Now, you can just come down here and duplicate the page several times. But there's also one thing you can do. You can remove the background color of the whole container. So I'm going to go to the container and I'm going to remove the background color so that it fits inside the whole. It kind of blends in with the background of our application. So I'm just going to clear the color instead of putting it to primary. So I'm just going to clear it. Now you notice that it just blends in with the app itself. So if I come down here, up here, and I change the link to appear like that. So now I can add a divider down here and then duplicate the container. So what I can do is I can just minimize the container. Now to add a divider, you need to do it inside the column. So it has to be inside the column and not inside the container. So let's go back to our first column, and I'm going to put in a divider. So divider is kind of a line that separates two things basically. So let me go back to the container here. Click on it, and I'm going to add that divider there. Here we go. So add the divider, and it kind of just going to appear right below the container. There we go. So you cannot really see it right now, but you can be able to see it once you publish your application. So that's something I noticed with it. There we go. Now we're going to just duplicate this container. Just click on it, make sure you click on it, and then you're going to create on duplicate. There we go. And just take the first container, because we want it to be below the divider. So I'm just going to take this container and I'm going to bring it down here. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to design the new page, and that is it. But I don't think that is really important for the tutorial, so I'm just going to take this, put it down there, make sure it's on a blue, it displays a blue line over there. And there we go. So we have these two pages appearing like this. That's what we want. Alright, there we go. So I want to touch something very small. So you notice that I have this row at the center, and it kind of appears like this. So most of this stuff is I just put this max alignment to this little thing over here. Now I want to look at something. Whenever you're changing the icon button, you need to also change the size of the button. If you change the button size, you need to change the size of the icon. Let's say I say this button is going to be, okay, let me just put a fill color so that you can see what I mean. And if I come here, I'm just going to give this line color here. It's just going to be a little bit different from what we have. So select color. So if I click on this button and I change the size from 60 to 40, you notice that it kind of appears a little bit weird. You notice how it looks like inside there. So you notice, let me show you. So it will look, yeah, there you go. So it looks a little bit weird. So I want to also make the icon fit at the center. So you need to change the size of the color by dividing the size of the button by 2. So we have 40 and we have the icon size to be 30. So I'm just going to come down here and make this icon to be 20, so that that icon basically fits inside that particular button. So that's what we really want. So just make it 20 there. There you go. Then you can change the border radius to maybe be something like okay, we can make this 50. Can make it 50, and this is going to be 25. Sorry, no, that one. Make this 25. There we go. Now the border radius, I'm just going to change it to the one that I'm currently using, which is 15. There you go. So we have it looking something like that. There you go. Now I just want to put a container inside this row so that I can give it a nice color. So I'm going to come to this row and wrap it with a container. Just click on right click, and then you're going to say wrap widget, and inside there you can add a container. Now we are not going to give this container anything very special. I'm just going to change the height of the container So, and then I'm going to make it stretch to the end. Watch this. So I'm going to make it stretch like that. All right, and then I'm going to give it a height of something like 40. Okay, I guess that 40 will do me right. There you go. But now you notice that now we have another conundrum right about here. We cannot control how this text looks like. So you're going to go back to the row. Okay, you just go back to the row and wrap widget, and you're going to put a column inside there. So once you put the column, you can now control how the text looks like inside that container. So there you go. It kind of automatically goes to the center of the container, but you can just make sure that's where it is by coming back here. Is it? Not really there, but here. There you go. So we want to put that column at the center of the page. So you're going to click on it, and we're going to put it at the center of that page. And the row should be at the center also. Okay, there we go. Now I'm just going to give this container some padding, and I'm going to make it something like 20. Give it 20 here also, 20 like that. Alright, then I'm going to give it a fill color of bright. And then I'm going to give it a border radius of 15 also. So I'm going to give it a border radius of 15. And then to make it 15 all around, you're just going to click this lock icon here, and it's just going to basically give all the sides a border radius of 15. There you go. Alright, so give it a padding so that it's not too close to this bottom share button. Just come down back here. Click on the container, which is basically this one, and you're going to give it a bottom padding of, should I give it 20? I'm tempted to just type 20 everywhere. You can also give it another padding at the top, which can also be 20. So you do that by clicking on the lock icon. So just click on this lock icon here, and it's just going to give the padding everywhere. So, but now you click on it once you type the first letter. So we need to now type that one at the top. And there we go. We have this right here. So it seems like this is not really working how we want. So I just, okay. One thing I noticed, the reason why it's not working is because we had put a padding inside the row. That is why it's not going to be displaying at the center. So there we go. We have it at the center. Now if you click on this, it should show what we actually want. There we go. So just a Alright, so I've designed my page how I want it to look completely. So that's what we have right now. So yours might look how you want it to look. So that's basically one of the things you might need to do, understand basically. And now I just need to make the last thing I need to do is just make some button. When I click on it, come to this page. So I'm just going to go to my home page here, and I'm going to go this single hold business. So I just want to come here to this single hold business container. Just click on this container, and when I so basically I just want to add an action here. So you can add an action to a container. So I'm going to, when I click on it, I want it to navigate to a certain page. Okay, so that page is now called it's the last page at the bottom, which is my business. Wanted to come here, and now it's going to give us some extra parameters that we can work with, which is allow back navigation. You can say yes, and I want it to go to this page. So how do I want it to go? Maybe I want it to go instant, fade, slide up, slide down. Let me just pick slide left, and the duration basically means how long is it going to take for that page to actually display. So if it's going to be sliding left, how much time milliseconds do you want it to take to display? So you don't want it to go slowly. We don't want that. So we want it to go at a speed of maybe 400. You can take 400 or 200. That's really up to you. So that is it. Now I'm just going to test it. So there we go. Don't worry about how this page looks. It's a work in progress. So I want to go to our page. So once you click on it, it should appear like this. So that's basically how I want my page to look like mostly. So yeah, there you go guys. Now that will be it. I hope kind of helpful. So that's generally how you would build anything if you want. So don't worry about how it looks. Just like it's just something simple to look at. And have a good one. See you in the next video.